It seems like everyone's always talking about the best VR headsets. Which headset is the best? Which one has the best specs? Which one you should buy? Well, today I want to do something a little different. I want to talk about the absolute worst VR headsets. The biggest flops in VR history. I'm talking headsets that cost companies billions of dollars and even closed some companies down forever. So let's count down the top 10 headset VR failures. Hey guys, welcome back to Fix My Oculus. My name is Dan, and I am one of the co-founders of FixMyOculus.com. We are a VR repair business that has worked on thousands of headsets over the last 5 years, and that includes everything from Quests to Valve Indexes, HTCs, and a bunch of weird headsets that you've probably never heard of. So I've spent a lot of time over the last few years tearing these things apart, fixing them, figuring out what holds up and what really doesn't. So when I say these next few headsets are the worst of all time, I'm not just guessing. I feel like I've seen enough of them to know which headsets hold up really well and which ones don't. And then there's the headsets that I never see, never come across my workbench, and you can never get parts for because nobody ever bought them. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this list. Kicking off things at number 10, we have one of the very first consumer VR headsets ever, the VFX1 Headgear. Now this headset launched in 1995 and cost around $600, which adjusted for inflation is over $1,200 in today's dollars. Definitely not cheap for 1995. It had headset tracking, stereo sound, and a whopping, you ready for this? 263 by 230 resolution per eye. For reference, that's less than 4% the resolution of the Quest 2, which has 1832 by 1920 resolution per eye. So if this is a Quest 2 LCD, just try to imagine getting 4% the resolution of this. It'd probably be like playing VR on like a early 90s security camera feed. Consequently, only a few thousand units really ever sold. The tech was definitely ahead of its time, and the market and the hardware just really weren't ready for it. Next up on my list, I've got the Samsung Odyssey Plus at number 9. Now this was a Windows mixed reality headset with beautiful AMOLED screens and nothing else. Released in 2018 at $500, it had decent specs, but the clunky tracking and the poor controller support made it kind of hard to love. Plus the Steam VR integration was rough, and Windows mixed reality was already kind of circling the drain at this point. It was so bad that Samsung just got out of VR altogether, and they haven't released a headset up until just recently when they announced the new one that's supposed to be coming out at the end of this year. And the Odyssey Plus just kind of faded away into obscurity. At number 8, we have a nostalgic gameplay experience gone completely wrong. The ViewMaster VR. Mattel was trying really hard to revive their classic ViewMaster toy line with a smartphone-based VR system, and it was kind of a cute idea for kids. It had some dinosaur and space and field trip things, but it was barely functional. And once the novelty of having a ViewMaster VR wore off, they just ended up in toy bins and thrift shops and clearance racks. Not the worst thing ever made, but it's definitely a failure. Coming in hot at number 7, I have the LG 360 VR. Now the 360 VR was released in 2016 as part of LG's weird modular phone strategy. You actually had to plug it into your G5 phone with a cable, and then it just looked like you were wearing these weird futuristic safety goggles. It had a tiny field of view, terrible resolution, there was no content for it, and people just hated it. The reviews were so bad that LG just dropped it, and then shortly after that, they just stopped making VR stuff altogether. At number 6, we have an entry from HTC. HTC really had a good thing going with the Vive. People loved the Vive. I still know people that play on the Vives. And then they gave us the Cosmos. Now, the Cosmos released in 2019. It had the inside-out tracking, modular upgrades, and a $699 price tag. But the tracking was really bad at launch, and the controllers were super clunky, and the whole thing kind of felt like an unfinished product. And because of that, the VR enthusiasts just rejected it, the enterprise clients just ignored it, and HTC just let it die. The Cosmos failure was so bad that HTC basically went from being the top dog in consumer VR for years to being almost non-existent in the conversation pretty much overnight. All right, now we're moving on to the top 5. At number 5, we've got the Razer OSVR HDK. Try saying that 5 times fast. Now the Razer was developed to be more of an open source headset for modders and developers. It had decent hardware and a pretty good pitch behind it, but it had no user base, no killer apps, and no long-term support. It launched in 2015, faded by 2017, and Nobody remembers it. Great idea on paper. Poor execution in reality. Coming in at number 4, we have the Sulon Q. Now, to be fair, this one did not fail. It evaporated. The Sulon Q was announced in 2016 as an all-in-one ARV headset with an AMD inside. It promised wireless PC-level power and spatial mapping. But after some really rough demos and some developmental delays, the whole thing was just scrapped. There was no retail launch, there were no units sold, and Sulon just disappeared forever. Coming in at number 3, I've got the Nintendo Virtual Boy from 1995. One of the problems with the Virtual Boy is that it gave VR a black eye before VR was even really a thing. It launched in 1995. It had this red-only graphics thing. They're awful. Everybody said that it caused headaches and was super uncomfortable, and you actually had to sit it on a table in order to use it. But in some ways, the Virtual Boy was actually a lot more successful than some of the other headsets on this list. It sold a whopping 770,000 units before Nintendo pulled it off the shelves within a year of its release. And it flopped so bad that Nintendo just avoided VR altogether for, 2 decades. Iconic? Yes. Functional? Absolutely not. Coming in at number 2, and I know this is going to hurt some feelings, and I know I'm going to get some comments. Don't click away. Just hear me out. I've got stuff to say here. The MetaQuest Pro from 2022. This one still stings. The MetaQuest Pro launched for $1,500, and it was supposed to be the future of mixed reality and productivity. But here are the facts, and I'm just the messenger, okay? It sold less than 100,000 units. To put that in perspective, the Quest 2 sold over 20 million units. And the sales were so bad that Meta cut the price down by $500 within just a few months of its launch. And then not only did they discontinue the unit, but they scrapped the plans for the Quest Pro 2 altogether. Which is kind of crazy because it had some pretty cool features. Things like the face and eye tracking, people are still clamoring for that. I mean, it's been 3 years. Where is the consumer level face and eye tracking headset? But unfortunately for the Quest Pro and for its fans, the market just really wasn't ready for a $1,500 VR headset for Zoom meetings. All in all, Reality Labs lost about $13 billion in 2022, and while the Quest Pro wasn't solely to blame, it surely didn't help. Meta's stock took kind of a hit, and the whole thing just seemed to change the roadmap for Meta and their headsets. Everything shifted back very quickly toward the mass market headsets that we have today, and the money spent on the development for the Quest Pro is just kind of seen as an expensive detour. Before we get to the number 1 spot, we're going to do a few honorable mentions. So let's shine a little spotlight on a few of these headsets that just didn't quite make the main list. Honorable mention number 1, the Sega VR, canceled before its release due to motion sickness issues. Honorable mention number 2, the Atari Jaguar VR, which never made it to market. Honorable mention number 3, the Google Daydream View. Stylish, but short-lived. My 4th honorable mention is the Samsung Gear VR. Very popular early on, but it faded very fast. And honorable mention number 5, hold your comments, the Meta 2. Not the MetaQuest 2. Meta 2. There was a whole headset called the Meta 2, developed by the Meta company. Not Meta Platforms, not Reality Labs, not Facebook, the Meta company. And this thing was so weird, I'm probably going to end up doing a totally separate video on it because it was tale as old as time. It promised big, it failed to deliver, and then the company shut down. But it was called the Meta 2. It was an AR headset called the Meta 2 in 2019. So I just had to put it on here. All right, honorable mentions are over. And finally, at number 1, the number 1 worst VR headset failure of all time, the Magic Leap 1. This thing raised an inordinate amount of money, $2 billion from companies like Google and Alibaba. And it was a lot like a couple of the headsets that I just talked about. It made a lot of promises, and then it just continuously over time failed to deliver on those promises. And so for the years that it was in development, it promised this groundbreaking AR light field display technology. It was supposed to be amazing, and it was something that nobody had ever seen before. But then when it finally launched in 2018 at a price tag of $2,300 per unit, it was a total disaster. The visuals weren't nearly as revolutionary as they were advertised, the software library was paper thin, and the user interface felt like a prototype instead of a polished $2,300 product. So what happened next? Well, It sold 6,000 units in 6 months, which was just a staggering miss considering the amount of hype that was behind this thing and the amount of investment money that was behind this thing. Magic Leap laid off half of its workforce, pushed the CEO out, and then they went to focus solely on enterprise contracts just so that they could stay afloat as a company. To this day, Magic Leap 1 is the case study for overpromising and under-delivering on a tech product. Like, it didn't just fail, it failed so badly that it changed the way investors invest in tech that's related to VR and AR stuff to this day. So that's my list, the 10 biggest VR headset disasters of all time. Some were ahead of their time, some were just bad, and then a few of them never even existed at all. If you liked this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Plus, you can always check out our other videos for more VR-related content like this one. Also, if you've got a headset or controller that needs parts, repairs, or you need the tools to do a repair on your headset or controller, you can always check out our website, fixmyoculus.com. And don't forget to let me know in the comments which VR flop you remember and if I missed one that should have been on this list. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you on the next one.